Hello and welcome to hobby vlog number 243. Now it is Thursday as I record this because I'm going on holiday, woohoo! And really looking forward to it. Going to be away for a week or so, and so I've had to do a shorter week this week. I've already recorded and uploaded and scheduled a video for the week today as you're watching this, which is a slightly different one, but I'm really looking forward to your reactions to that. But yeah, look out for that one as well. So there isn't going to be a gap in videos as such, but there is going to be a gap in hobbying. Anyway, there we are. So first thing to say is thank you ever so much to everyone that voted last week or this week so far in the Reaper challenge. If you haven't yet voted, obviously your vote will not count towards what's going to win because I've had to pick that already, but it will count towards entries into my challenge, so don't worry about that. So the one that won was this, which is amazing. So the Avatar of Rage Hippo is what won. Last week I painted up the Drowned Spirit, which I will put a picture of on screen now. I had a lot of fun with that. Quinn was particularly excited about me painting some transparent cloth. Had a lot of fun with that. So thank you to everyone that voted last week for that and helped me to pick that one. And for this week on screen now is a list of 10 miniatures. To get involved, just put a comment below with the name of the miniature you want me to paint, and you'll be entered into a prize draw to potentially win one of these miniatures brand new from the Reaper website. So yeah, there is a list also in the video description which has links to the Reaper website showing you what miniature looks like. So if you're not sure which one to pick, you can go and have a look at those and that will help you with your decision. So a bit of a rambly intro. I will let that lie there, and I really hope you enjoy this video, and I'll see you again at the end. Alright, so we're painting up the Drowned Spirit this week. Quinn's happy. He's been wanting me to paint this for ages. So what I'm going to have to do is, as always, give it a bit of scrub in hot soapy water, clean up any like bits of flash or whatever. There doesn't seem to be any, but I'll get in there with, there's a little bit actually underneath her arm. I'll get a bit of magnifying glass so I can see better. Get that primed, put onto a base, and then I'll be back to show what it looks like. So yeah, let's give it a go. And I've got to try and do transparent cloth on this apparently, which I have done a few times, but we'll see whether we can manage it again this time. That was really easy to clean up actually, didn't have very much at all, very little flash. And as you can see, stuck to a base and primed, so that's ready to be taken up and taken down and start getting paint on it, which I'm going to need to do in a hurry because I've got a short week, as I've said, so I better get stuck into that. I'm going to struggle to do any hobbying this week, I think. I'm just going to do what I can, but the very least I'm going to do this week is this miniature. We're only off on holiday at the end of the week, and I picked these, Rosie picked this up when we went to Greece earlier in the year. And last year I gathered together a load of stuff to make necklaces for her, and that hasn't happened. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do some necklaces for her and get them done before we go away. So the first one that I'm looking at is this one, and I'm going to make use of this nice long necklace that I bought for that, I think. So I've bent and twisted this. I managed to get this separated because it's just got this kind of rubber thing, which is pretty cool. It'll be fine. And what I've decided I'm going to do is I'm going to drill through, and I'm currently umming and ahhing as to which way round it is, and I think I'm going to do it so that so it's that way round. So it will hang down like this. And I'm going to drill a hole through, and then I have all these bits and pieces. So I've got this larger hoop here, which I can open out. I'll put it through here, and then I will put it through that gap there in the string. Sorry, the lighting is not very good. Let me see if I can improve the lighting. I do have my lights on. It's not very, let me zoom in a bit, that might help. That might help, yeah. So I'm going to basically hook it through that little gap there, through the little wire here, and hook it through, if I can get this drilled out without breaking it, the top of that, and then it'll attach underneath that. Now, what I'm wondering is whether I want to do three of these together. So I have one through here. Sorry, that's not focused again. So one through here at 90 degrees, another one at 90 degrees above that, and then one at 90 degrees joining onto the necklace. But the first thing to do is going to be to do the drilling. So I have a bit of wood here. Let's get that focused in. And I have my Dremel, and I'm going to give it a go, because what's the worst that can happen? So I'll get my Dremel set up and I'll be back. Alright, here we go. I will put some music on because this is going to sound nasty probably, but let's see how all this works. We have a relatively good oops, can we do that? Don't know if you can see the tip of this, but wow, I get my, so there we are. It's burning. It's incredible. I might get some water. Right, I'm going to stop filming this now because this is just becoming a bit awkward. I'm going to get myself some water. That's getting very hot. Wow, I'm going to cool that down. I'm going to drip water onto it, and that will also hopefully help lubricate it, and I'll bring you back when I've got it done and tell you how much pain it was. Well, that's super frustrating. I got through, I did it with the cooling, and then as it went through nice and clean, and as it went through, it shattered the little bridge that I was trying to save. What a pain. So I'm going to have another think about how this is going to work. What I can get on with though is this one, which is a different one, which is a lot easier. So I'm going to have to do what I suggested, which is I'll put a ring around this at 90 degrees, and then I have some chains here. This is all like a jewellery making set I bought. So I've got quite a lot of chain here. I can split that down. There's a lot of it, as you can see. I can split that down and then loop it through. So I will get that done and show you what it looks like, and I will keep thinking about this. It hasn't destroyed the shell, it's still going to be usable. Just got a little chip out of it. I'm going to see if there's a way I might be able to get that bent around and flat. I might be able to get a different bit of metal that I can bend around and flat just to make a hoop on it so I can attach to it. I'll have some thoughts and I'll come back on that as well when I get to it. But yeah, that was frustrating. I did so well, and then as it went through, it went pew and broke. Right, so I've got that one on there using a different shell, but that's done. And what I'm doing now is I'm working out how I'm attaching this one. I'm going to do a few like that first one. As you can see, we've got the whole box full of things. But this one is different. So what I've done is I've taken this little leather strap here, which actually was on, it was used to attach a label to a cutting block for another project I'm working on, funnily enough. And I've managed to kind of like thread it through the actual necklace itself. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get super glue, and I'm going to super glue the inside of this strap so that it's got a nice long length super glue together. And I'm even wondering whether I oughtn't to undo this and just rely on super glue entirely. The only problem is that while these shells are very strong, they also shatter. So if it falls, it'll probably break, which would make her very unhappy. So I'm not sure. I might just put a dab of super glue on this knot to make that secure. So the first thing I'm going to do is super glue down there. If I can find my super glue, here it is. Got all sorts of messages dinging off on my computer. They can wait. So pull that through a little bit more. There we are. So it's not quite hanging down so much. This is going to be a really long necklace on her. And then super glue there, and then come along and pinch it together. And it has stuck already, which is what I was expecting it to stick very readily indeed. So that's like that. So now just a dab of super glue in to join this to make this knot solid, like so. And what we'll do is I will then snip off. Let's get the scissors actually, rather than try to use the wrong tool. And snip off this tail here, like that. And then snip off this tail here. And we have the rest of that thong still, that leather. And that is done. So I'm going to do the next couple of necklaces, and I'll show you them all when they're done, and then I can give them to her when she wakes up from her nap, which she's having now. And there we have it, 3 necklaces made for Rosie. I can make some more, but I'm not going to make them now. I'll do that later. I'm very, very pleased to have got to that, and I think that she'll love them. So I'll take these downstairs now, and she can have a look at them when she wakes up. Alright, so one of the first things I've got to do now is mask this off. So what I want to have is I want to have the whole of the edge masked, obviously, so I don't want to have the wood on the front with any terrain material going onto it. So just going to use this masking tape to do that. And I will go around the whole of it off camera and make sure that it sticks down right. Some of my masking tape is a bit rubbish, very old, so it doesn't actually have very much sticky on it anymore. So that's one thing to do. The second thing is I've found myself this tube, which actually Angela saved for me the other day, and that's probably it's quite long, as you can see. So if we offer that up against the wolf and the rider, if I cut it about here, I could probably get two trunks out of that. So I'm going to get that cut. I'm going to cut it on my circular saw so that I get a nice straight cut. And I'm going to get myself another tube, maybe slightly bigger. Once I've got those cut and I've got them prepared, I'll come back and I'll show you how I'm going to attach them. Basically going to make use of my Moment Fix, my grabby glue. And then I'm going to use air dry clay to sculpt in the trees, which is one of the main reasons I want to mask, because that stuff gets in your hands, and then as soon as you touch the board to move it, you'll put clay all over it. So I'm going to mask off the handle, mask off the edges, and then that means that I can move it around without risking ruining the nice wood effect. And then I'll get this cut and I'll bring it back when I come to glue them in. Alright, I got these cut, but I ended up just making use of my little kind of like saw, because it got late, it's night time now and Rosie's asleep, and well, it probably wouldn't disturb her. I could be bothered with her going and sparking up the whole kit and caboodle and shebang. So what we're going to do is run a bead of my awesome grabby glue along the bottom of this. Now this is not going to be the only way it's held down. This is just to hold it in place now. And we're going to put that there. And as I say, we will have the air dry clay will come in next, which will also secure this a lot better, like that. And you know what, I might just do a bead around the outside of this one and then smooch it down. That might actually be an even better idea. There we are. Oh, and I have realised that there is something I've missed on the miniature as well, which I'm going to need to paint, which I'll show you in a second. But I am absolutely exhausted right now, so once I've done this I'm going to bed, so painting will have to happen tomorrow. There we are, so that's there. Smudge that down, let that dry. The thing which I've missed is the sword on her back. So I'm going to need to paint that up and get that stuck on, and then she'll be ready. So yeah, I'll get that primed tonight, because that won't take long to prime. I've actually got 2 of them. I've actually got 2 swords. I'll get that primed tonight, painted tomorrow, and stick it on her back, and then she will actually be finished. So let those dry. I'm wondering whether I'm going to put another tree on or whether I'm just going to do the 2. I think part of me thinks the 2 looks quite nice. I am going to have like bushes certainly behind. I'm going to have some bushes kind of wrapping around here, but I think 2 lovely tall tree trunks really will set this off quite nicely, and it'll flow kind of, it'll go down like that, so it's kind of got a nice diagonal sloping profile. Anyway, that's enough nattering. I'm going to go to bed. I'll be back tomorrow for the next bit of this. Well, the next mummock is making progress. I've just been down and touched up the paint job that was needed to be touched up on this and on the base of the howdah, which I am now going to glue on, like so. There we are. So we'll leave that, and then once that's set, I will put the top of the howdah on. I think I might need to do some repairs on that, so I'm going to have a quick look at that now. But yeah, pretty much ready to stick that onto the base as well, so that's really, really cool. And that'll be another one done. Another one bites the dust, and then I'm left with 2 more, I think. 2 more, maybe more, I'm not sure, I can't work it out. I've got too many. But at least the one that was sent to me by Zero, awesome. So I've got to do that one, which is mostly unpainted. And then I think I've got my new in-box one. I don't think there's any others left. So yeah, we are doing quite well, and considering it is July, I'm really getting through this project as quickly as I hoped. So I should get them all done this year. But yeah, we shall see. You never know what's around the corner, do you? Yeah, I remember correctly. I'm missing one of these, so what I'm going to do now, I've just cut that out off the bottom of a barbecue skewer, so we'll glue that in place there, and then I'll take that down and paint it, and then this will be ready to be glued on. I thought that's why I remembered that this was missing, so there we are, just glue that in place, and then when that's set I can go and paint it and bring it back up and put it on top of the mummock, and then we're done. Brilliant. A little while back Rosie made me this awesome picture, glued it all together, and I really want to keep it. I want to make sure it's kept safe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue it to some cardboard. Now it's not going to be these cardboard, because this is what I was storing it on temporarily, and it's actually 2 sections of cardboard. So I found a large bit of cardboard, and I'm going to measure out how large it should be. I'm going to cut that out, and I'm going to use spray glue, the spray adhesive, to spray mount. I'm going to spray that onto the cardboard and then carefully press this down on top of it. And hopefully then it will stay stuck, though it is starting to come unstuck a little bit, so I might need to touch some of that up. Just a little bit once it's all on there as well. It's lifting because it's very light, and also my fan's going, so I'm going to need to turn my fan off for this. So I'm not going to film very much of this. I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. But yeah, pretty happy. I might leave a little gap at the bottom, and then I can date it. Get Rosie to sign it, because I just think it's absolutely wonderful. She's yeah, so you can see you've got a worm, you've got a tree, you've got flowers in the garden, you've got a bird over here, you've got clouds in the sky. So creative, I absolutely love it. So yeah, going to get this done now and preserve this for the future. Alright, so it's not perfect, but it's better than I feared it would be actually. It's really, really tough using spray adhesive, and particularly with something as light as this, it was very difficult to get it to stick. But I managed to get it done. What I'm going to do now is, I'm going to stop now, I've got to go and do dinner. But what I'm going to do now is, after this, I'm going to seal down some of these. I've lost a couple of sequins, that's lifted off. I'm just going to use some PVA glue and just seal as much as I can, just to make sure it doesn't fall off. I know it probably won't last for forever, but I really want it to last as long as it can. And like I've said, I'm going to get Rosie to sign the bottom of it as well. Pretty happy with that. I will come back and show you what it looks like when all of that stuff's done. Well, there we are. She's painted up. That was fun. I do enjoy painting transparent cloth. It's really, really easy. I've filmed this for an average painter, so you'll be able to check that video out on Monday if you're interested. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to base it using my backyard sand. I've picked up the wrong bucket there. Let's get the right bucket. So using my backyard sand, which looks like that. So that's going to be a really nice texture to make it look like she's sat on a sandy base with a rock, sat on a rock, sat on some sand under the sea. So I'm going to get that done, I'm not going to put it on camera. You've seen me hundreds of times do it. And then paint the rim, and then it should be completed, which is good because it's Wednesday and I need to edit this video tomorrow. Well, there we are. For now, it's going to sit here propped up by my working bench, and I got her to sign her name both in English and in Bulgarian. I dated it 2024, so there we are. Really pleased. I'll find a better place for it eventually soon, but for now that's going to be good. I can see it very easily. I didn't end up putting more PVA glue on it. I just used little dibs of super glue to secure the bits that were looking a little bit dodgy. But yeah, pretty pleased to have got that done. Been staring at it for 2 or 3 weeks, and it didn't take that long. So there we are. Right, onwards. Well, that worked perfectly. That's actually better than the other one I had to fix in the same way, because the dimensions of this are much closer. So what I need to do now is just take that downstairs, get that painted up with some brown, and then I'll be able to stick this all together, put it on the base, and it's another one ticked off. And I am convinced that I've only got 2 more to do, both of which require a lot more painting. So the next one I'll paint completely but not film, and the last one, which is the Mumakil War Leader, is I'll paint that and film it for an average painter. And I'll also go through the assembly process, because I can tell you what, I've learned a lot about the assembly process while I've been fixing these. A lot. Okay, I'll get these painted, get it all assembled, put it on the base, which I've already done, and show what it looks like when it's finished. Well, this is rather frustrating. So if you have a look here, you can see that there's a gap right in there, and there's actually also a smaller gap in there. Now, yeah, maybe my own fault, but didn't notice that until after I'd already glued these side things on, and so I don't want to go breaking those off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up some milliput, fill that gap and that gap, and you can see as well that this has come off. That's because for whatever reason it didn't actually stick. Don't know why. So I'm also going to use some milliput on the top of here to stick the howdah on as well. So I'm going to mix some milliput on, fill that gap, put it on top of the elephant, and then press that in place. And then once that's done, I'll have to go in and paint the milliput, which is filling those gaps. And then finally I'll be able to start the basing. So it's a bit frustrating, a little bit of a more complex process than I wanted, but hey, that's life. And there we are, finished. Base looks great, really pleased that I went with that stuff, and really enjoyed painting that and managed to get it done in time. It's early Thursday morning right now, so I'm about to edit the vlog, even though it won't be published until until Friday, until Sunday even. But yeah, that's going to wrap up this one. And yeah, thank you ever so much for voting. And if you haven't yet voted this week, get involved. Go into the comments and leave which miniature you want from the list, which is in the description, and I'll paint that up next week. Well, not next week, the week after next, because I already know what I'm painting next week's. So yeah, that's anyway, I'm getting confused with times. There's too many vlogs going on simultaneously right now. I don't know when I am. Well, there we are. As I say, a short week, but a fun one. Lots of fun with Rosie, and well, that's what brings me joy. So I really have had a good week. I'm going to take the hippo with me on holiday. I'm going to take some paints and get that painted up. So there will be a video of that coming out at the correct time, I hope, if I can get it edited after I get back from holiday. But yeah, so I'm not going to miss out on that either, and like I say, there is going to be another video next week which has already been recorded and uploaded, so look out for that one. It's quite a fun one. I really hope you enjoy that, and I hope you've enjoyed this one, and I hope that you will be voting in the comments for which Reaper miniature you want me to paint. So on screen again now, just briefly, is the list of miniatures. In the description below is a list of miniatures as well, with links to them on the Reaper website if you want to see what they look like. Just leave a comment below with which one you want me to paint, and you could be with a chance of winning one of them. So yeah, you've got to be in it to win it, so get involved. Anyway, thank you ever so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go and have a really nice holiday now, and hopefully get some rest and come back feeling better. I'll wrap up by saying, as I always do, to everyone, if you know anyone, or you are directly or indirectly impacted by the horrific wars either in Ukraine or in Israel or any other conflict around the world, frankly, my thoughts do go out to you and anyone you know who might be in that situation. I do know people who are in both the Ukrainian and the Israeli situations, and so yeah, it's personal to me, which is why I say it every week. And to everyone, please do stay healthy, stay safe, and stay well.